one of the two programmers of the Return of the Ancients mod that adds the Gargantuan Leviathan just quit the dev team. So, is the mod dead? Hey there, I'm Haki, and no, the mod is not dead, unlike what some people have been claiming. I talked to Lee, the programmer that quit, about why he decided to leave, and to the other team members to see what the future of the mod looks like. The Return of the Ancients mod is one of the biggest and most anticipated mods for Subnautica, so I made this video since I saw a bunch of people speculating in my comment section, and I think there's some misinformation we need to clear up. This is a revised version of this video, since I also made some mistakes in the last one, which I've corrected here. For transparency, the old video is linked in the description. So, why did Lee quit? He sent a message in the Subnautica modding Discord, going over his reasons, and explained them to me in a bit more detail. There were several issues with the mod and team that had been bugging him for a while, but what specifically prompted him to leave the team was the demo release.
We had multiple months to get that out, and it really only began the last few days, which I would consider a failure. It's missing a lot of introductions to like the actual main gameplay of the mod as well.
Did you intend for there to be like a mini story for the demo?
I was hoping there'd be, but we had many disagreements on how to do things, so we ended up with something like what we have now.
Another factor was the bureaucratic nature of the organization of the team, slowing down the mod immensely.
The 2.0 update definitely slowed down the programmers. My concern is that during all that time, there could have been work on like management, like planning for the main story progression, actually writing the story, getting assets made, getting many stories like, I don't know, survivor storylines or new props for the map. That sort of thing. Unfortunately, that didn't really happen at all during the 2.0 update recovery.
So, what were you doing during the 2.0 update recovery other than reprogramming the mod?
That was essentially all just library updates and improvements. Well, I mean, sure, there might have been some work on animation improvement and maybe one new story location. And that's not insignificant, but also I feel like we could have been using Patreon funds to work on stuff in parallel the whole time.
I think you do have to note here that ROTA is a fan-made mod. Fans are working on this as a passion project in their spare time, so it's obviously not going to be as fast or organized as a professional production. The team also doesn't have a specific team lead, leading to a lot of arguments and a sense of lack of direction, according to Lee.
There's not really any like official hierarchy of team members, and there's really only 4 or 5 people there who are active now, probably less now, and it's sort of just people, I hate to say it this way, it's kind of negative, but it's really a bunch of people doing their own thing.
However, the other devs see it slightly differently. Each developer generally chooses tasks best suited to their skill set and preference. The remaining responsibilities are then assigned to the developers by the team based on the same criteria. When tasks fall outside of the ability and or interest of developers, we look for more people who are interested in contributing to the project's development, or we outsource. We agreed early on during the team's formation that each developer would more or less manage and be responsible for the areas of development covered by their skills. This includes having a bigger say than the rest of the developers in decision-making processes concerning these areas. The same applies to non-development tasks, like managing the team server and other accounts like Patreon. Because many aspects of the mod require the skills of most developers, we often work and make decisions on the same things together. If a developer asks for help or feedback, it is provided by the rest of the team to the best of their ability. For more complex problems, we discuss and troubleshoot as a team. We also discuss and decide the larger and broader aspects of the mod, such as direction, scope, story, and goals, together as a team. A lot of people have been worried that the mod is now dead, but the team will still continue to work on it. They still have another programmer, and of course the other devs are also staying on the team. So while this will slow down progress or put a lot more pressure on the other programmer, progress won't stop. And the devs are still very passionate about bringing this project to life. However, Lee also had a big issue with how Patreon funds are used. Him and other devs mentioned not knowing where funds are exactly going. They can recall once or twice where they were used to purchase software to work on the mod, but that's about it. This being mentioned also resulted in some people thinking the project was a scam and someone was pocketing all the Patreon donations. But don't worry, that is not the case. I talked to the dev managing the Patreon and he explained it as follows. The way the architects of the Unknown team set up their Patreon is that any donations go into a treasury and sit there until they're needed for something specific. So the funds are still there and waiting to be used for something, but they're not being paid out to the devs directly, like we for example do monthly on Call of the Void. So that's absolutely a valid approach, but it seems like there's been some miscommunication in the team about that. After talking to some other devs, it seems like any funds that are unused when the project is completed will be divided up between the team members, so it's not like they'd go to waste either. Lee also brought up that the story of Return of the Ancients seems to have big issues. He mentioned almost no work being done on the story yet. I did talk to the other developers about this, and they said that there is in fact a planned story, and that they do have progress on it. So it seems like Lee might either have just missed this, or something else is going on here. But if you can miss something like this, then there's clearly some miscommunication going on. The other devs also disagree with Lee's assessment that the mod isn't going anywhere. I'll just read out the statement regarding this. I strongly disagree with Lee's assessment. Our creative vision for Return of the Ancients is clear, and most of what we have planned for version 1.0 is implemented, and in many cases substantially polished. With clean code and tons of bugs fixed, the mod is also highly optimized so that devices that run modded Subnautica can also run Return of the Ancients without getting major, if any, performance hits. Compatibility has always been a priority, so ROTA works with most mods and even has exclusive features when used alongside those we've collaborated with and contributed to. Although development has admittedly been slower than initially planned or anticipated, we knew this would be a possibility, given the early issues the team encountered, accommodating the Gargantuan Leviathan size, the large scope of the project, and the quality we're aiming for. We also agreed in the team's formation to prioritize our lives when taking on this project, given how easy it would be to succumb to burnout with the large amount of work to do and the immense pressure we were facing to deliver. This is largely because of an unfortunate early decision by a former developer to publicly reveal this mod before we even began to develop it. We also experienced several issues during this mod's development process, including early team complications, leaks, technological limitations, and a major update for Subnautica dubbed the Modpocalypse, to name a few, that set us back quite a bit. That being said, development on this project has always continued regardless of circumstances and will continue until it is ready to be released. I'm confident we'll be able to fulfill our vision for this passion project to which we've all dedicated several years of our lives. Lee also had an issue with how permissions are set up on the Return of the Ancients Discord server. Developers do not have moderation permissions. This led to an issue where someone was streaming a leaked version of the mod in a voice chat of the server, with the developers just having to sit there, unable to do anything about it. The server owner explains this as follows. I'd like to clarify that there are currently 3 developers in the staff team. As for the other developers, I wouldn't know why they are unable to help moderate the server. If I had to guess, they're too busy. I don't really know more because back when the server first went public, the team agreed to get outside help, a dedicated staff team to help manage the server. This is so developers could focus on the team and mod development without unnecessary stress, distractions, and large workloads that come with running a server. This was deemed important as most of us had limited free time to spend on the team. Now, while I do get the idea behind this as a server owner, I know how stressful it can be to manage one, why not at least give all the devs basic moderation permissions? Let them take care of issues if they see them, without giving any additional responsibilities. That way, they don't have to moderate the server, but if they see an issue, they can, and don't just sit there helplessly watching their work be disgraced. And do you think one person leading the team and making sure everyone stays on track would help with that?
As much as I used to not agree with that, I would say yes, definitely that would help us a lot now. It would be a big change to the team because we've always been, oh, it's just everyone can have a say. If one person doesn't like something, then we don't have to do it. But now I think that would be very helpful and get us out of this situation.
The last very big reason for Lee leaving is that, according to him, the Return of the Ancients team is taking on other mods and developing those instead of the main mod. I asked the devs about this, and they brought up examples like the prototype submarine, the Gargantuan Leviathan, or the Manta project. They are working on compatibility between the prototype submarine and Return of the Ancients. Some devs are helping out with coding on the Gargantuan Leviathan, and they helped out a couple of times with the Manta project, though that was multiple years ago. According to the other devs, they've done this to keep things fresh, while development on the main mod is slowed. They've also said that some of these mods were pet project of some of the devs before the project started, and that they just continue to work on them on the side. A few developers also got commissioned to work on several projects for reasons that vary from developer to developer. Initially harmless, commissions eventually became somewhat of a problem, as they started taking precedence over ROTA on a number of occasions. Lastly, we agreed to collaborate with talented teams and individuals to contribute to the projects or work on compatibility between our mods. Now personally, I absolutely get not wanting to work on the same thing all the time. And I think as long as it's just working on compatibility patches or giving advice to other devs, that's completely fine. But of course, you do need to take care that the other side projects don't take precedence over the main mod that people have been waiting for years. The modding community in Subnautica is pretty small, so you'll see the same devs on multiple different projects because they're just the most qualified. What I do find interesting is how similar the Discord servers for all these projects look compared to the Architects of the Unknown server, so maybe the devs are helping set up the servers for these projects as well. Since this interview, Lee has talked to the other devs and they've worked things out. Somewhat. He said there's a small chance he might come back to the team, but even if he doesn't fully rejoin, knowing Lee, he'll probably help out anyways if they ask him for some help. Lee did mention that it was a combination of multiple small things over a long time that made him quit the team. He also mentioned that he just had a different vision for the mod than most of the other developers. They wanted to focus on a linear experience that could be completed within the span of an hour or two, while he was aiming for a gameplay-driven story with plenty of lore that intertwines new story locations with the Gargantuan Leviathan and the base game story. However, when I talked to the other devs, they said they had the same plans, so I think this is just another case of miscommunication or differing approaches. I think it's important to remember that this is a passion project, and if you're no longer passionate, the best course of action is to leave and let someone else take the spot. There was no drama, no conflict, and nobody scamming the devs out of Patreon donations. I hope this video was helpful in clearing up any rumors and updating you on the situation, and if it was, remember to leave a like. As always, I'll see you next time. Goodbye!